this demonstration of teaching, a lesson will be pulled from a mathematical inquiry project devised for a grade 6 class. The inquiry project focuses on chance, probability, and collecting data, using the content descriptors of describe probabilities using fractions, decimals, and percentages, compare observed frequencies across experiments with expected frequencies, and interpret and compare a range of data displays, including side-by-side column graphs for two categorical variables. Students will be provided with a die and asked to draw up a table to answer the inquiry question of what is the most common number rolled from a die. At the end of the 4D framework lessons, they will present their findings to the teacher. The lesson that has been chosen to represent the demonstration of teaching today will be the Discover phrase lesson, which is used to introduce the inquiry question. The Discover phase should also be used to highlight possible mathematical connections in the project and to gain insight into the class's background knowledge on the topic. In opposition to the other phrases in the 4D framework, the Discover lesson or lessons should be exploratory in nature, building excitement for the future project. Therefore, the learning goals for the lesson are for the teacher to understand the students' prior knowledge on the topic and with the dice, while for the students to become engaged in the project, exploring different strategies with the activity performed in the lesson and building upon their problem-solving competence. The activity in question is a game of ladders, which allows students to analyze dice rolls and question the probability of certain numbers being rolled, directly linking them to the inquiry question. The teacher would start the lesson by gaining the class's attention, announcing that they will be learning a new game. Upon the board, the teacher would draw a ladder with 6 rungs, leaving 7 spaces. They will ask the students to copy this exact ladder on their whiteboards before putting their whiteboards away to practice their active listening while the teacher went over the rules. The teacher will pull out a pair of dice and give them a roll to provide them with 2 numbers. They will write these 2 separate numbers on the board, explaining that with these numbers they can create 2 versions of a double-digit number, or 1 version of a double-digit number if they roll a pair of the same number. For example, if the teacher rolled a 3 and a 6, they can either make 36 or 63, in comparison to if they rolled a 3 and a 3, leaving them to be only able to make 33. The teacher will pause, asking the class if they understand so far. If provided with a positive response, the teacher will then explain that they can place whatever double-digit number they've decided on the ladder. Then they will explain the aim of the game, which is to fill all the spaces on the ladder, having the numbers go in ascending order. Thus, if they decided to put the exampled 63 in the middle space, the only numbers that can go in the above spaces are 64, 65, and 66, which the teacher will remark to the class can be difficult to roll. If they do not have an appropriate place to put a number, they must skip a turn. With the rules explained, the teacher will now roll a handful of times, asking the students to create a double-digit number so they can place it on the ladder. Once the teacher is certain the class understands the game and its rules, they will rub off the example game on the board and draw up a new one, instructing the students to pull out their whiteboards, for they were going to play a game against the teacher now. The teacher will play a couple of rounds against the class until they are certain that the entire class has a basic grasp of the game. This is also time for the teacher to ask such questions as, what is the biggest number you can place? What is the smallest number you can place? How did you decide where to place your numbers? And facilitate class discussions on the answer volunteered from the students. After these rounds, the teacher would completely rub out their ladder, handing out dice to the students and explaining that they will now go against their shoulder buddies. They will play as many rounds as possible in the next 5 minutes, hopefully enjoying the game. The teacher will finish with the class by gaining their attention again and asking if students found any strategies they employed to help them win. The possible strategies they could come up with is putting lower numbers low and higher numbers high, or if they roll a 1 or a 6, automatically making it 60 or 10 and allocating it in the top spot or the bottom spot. The expected student response to this activity is that they will be engaged through the inquiry and play-based learning. Students will be able to identify and explain the few strategies they picked up playing the game. It is expected that they will be able to discuss the ease or difficulty of rolling specific numbers, which will make it easy for the teacher to then discuss the inquiry question with them, introducing the unit and the project.